Ladies and gentlemen, there is money to be made this offseason here in Carolina. Someone's going to get it. Question is who? The business he's talking about is esports, a business where, yes, actual physical trades exist. Give me a second. St. John is currently a star player for the Hornets Venom GT, operating under the gamer tag Big Saint. There's actually plenty at stake, not for guys like Bryce, but for guys on the bubble. These guys are trying to make the roster, and tonight is it. The question here is, should the Hornets trade LaMelo Ball? They're going to say no. Joey, he's going to say yes. I'm going to be the judge. That's why I have the hammer here. They just had the dryers on the track. I'm not hearing any noise. I'm hearing music. So that's a good sign, as there are still a lot of fans here. You're a guy that has done everything in this sport. Why does a third place finish bring tears to your eyes?
I never dreamed of being a car owner.
We got him spot shadowed, falls down trying to get around the pick. Rather than complain, that's what we'd all do. He shakes it off, then off a Hokies turnover, he takes all his anger out with a big dunk. Hopefully we're not ruining the magic, but that big spacious garage it looks like the crew is broadcasting from is actually a big spacious green screen, much like this one. Now up close, it's not much to look at, but on TV, they can do just about anything. It's a shoe. That's all it is, right? To some, sure, but not Michael Griffin.
Sneakers tell the story of your life. Every little scuff, every mark on them is the journey you've taken through life.
This pair has got quite the tale. A real rags to riches story. It's how one Charlotte man literally started from the bottom to become a sneaker king.
My whole thing was other people didn't believe in me, so I was like, well, I don't believe in myself.
It was 2020, and life had hit the 31-year-old hard. He was living with his dad and not quite sure of his purpose. Then he started thinking of what he was passionate about, and it all came back to shoes.
It's a true expression of who you are.
But what happens when wearing a pair of Nikes just isn't good enough? Griffin wanted to do something more. He wanted to make the shoe pop.
Being able to do custom, you can make something that's truly you.
A great idea in theory, if he had the art materials and an actual art background. Two things Griffin severely lacked.
You like that?
What he did have, however, was a stimulus check and a woman who believed in him.
He is very determined. If he says he's going to make something happen, he always makes it happen, no matter what.
And so the two set out on making the impossible a reality. Money was tough to come by, but that didn't stop Griffin from becoming a master of his craft.
It's not going to happen overnight, so I just got it in my mind that this is something I wanted.
Before long, Griffin got pretty good. However, he still needed a break. Then one day, just prior to the start of the 2022 season, opportunity came calling.
I got in front of Brian Burns and got his shoe size and told him I wasn't trying to make a sale, that I wanted to get my work out there, and I bet on myself. And that truly is what changed our life. It worked.
Burns liked what he saw. He became a client, and soon a lot of his teammates did too.
Laviska Chenault Jr., Derek Brown, Frankie Luvo, Xavier Woods, Chuba Hubbard.
The names keep on coming, but Griffin isn't running low on ideas. Some of Michael's designs are pretty far out there. This is the shoe that Adam Thielen wore on Christmas Eve. It's based on the Grinch, and it's got a TV in it. Crazy?
It depends on who you ask. I personally how cool.
They're definitely unique. But then again, so is the pair Griffin tossed up on the power line the day he and his wife opened up their custom shoe store last summer.
We're chasing a dream. We're working hard, and that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's been a journey, all right. And it's only getting started. If you were watching the Panthers and Bucks play their games side by side this afternoon, man, were you on a roller coaster. Both games kicked off around 1. Both had to frustrate Panther fans to no end. We'll start with Tampa. They were at one point good this year. Now they're not. Back in the second quarter, they were having all sorts of problems. Miami, who was leading 17-7 at the break. While that was happening, Carolina was holding its own against the best team in the NFC. The Panthers and Seahawks were actually tied at 3 going into the second half. Remember, a win would have clinched the division for Carolina over Tampa, but that never happened. In the third quarter, Carolina suffered a major meltdown. Right after they picked off Sam Darnold, Chuba Hubbard fumbled the ball. It would lead to a touchdown. Seahawks led 10-3. Next drive for the Panthers, they looked to respond, but look what happened. Bryce Young throwing, he's going to get picked off. Julian Love with the interception. Seattle getting it back in Carolina territory, and they would cash in moments later. Darnold, 1 touchdown pass on the day. It happened on this 17-yard strike to A.J. Barner. 14 straight from the Seahawks. They were up 17-3 going into the fourth. Panthers would go on to lose this one 27-10. And if that weren't bad enough, the Bucs lost to the Dolphins 20-17. So a lost opportunity for the Panthers, and now it all comes down to next week. Win that game, the division is Carolina's. After an up-and-down season, maybe it's only fitting it ends that way. For more on what happened, though, today at the bank, we send it back out to Gabe and Gia.
That's just great football, and so I'm really proud of him for, just playing with the kind of effort that we were expecting from him.
Man, it sounds like Panthers rookie Nick Scorton made a real good impression in his first ever preseason game. In the loss to the Browns, he finished with 2 tackles. However, it was the play in which he didn't get the hit that had everyone talking. We're going to pull it up right here. It was in the second quarter with the Browns driving. Their rookie quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, tried to make his move. There you see number 11, Scorton, cuts him off. Sanders going to come back the other way. He thinks he's seen the last of Scorton. Football field, 160 feet wide. In 6 seconds, Scorton turned on a dime, came back the other way, and was able to force him out. That then brings us to Rico Dowdle. I like Rico. I know you like Rico. But let's not kid ourselves. Carolina's breakout back probably won't be back next season. Dowdle bet on himself taking a 1-year deal with Carolina and ended up getting 1,000 yards on the season. It's time he gets rewarded for those efforts, but I don't think it's going to happen here with the Panthers. It's more likely he'll find it somewhere else. Last but not least, let's talk defense. Unlike Rico, I don't think Christian Roseboom will be a one-and-done here in Carolina. Thanks to injuries last year, the veteran linebacker was a surprise addition to the starting lineup. With Trevin Wallace often dealing with injuries himself, Roseboom stepped up and ended up leading the team with 122 tackles over 15 starts. Granted, he was a liability at times in coverage, but overall, Carolina was better when he was out there. Folks, the clock is ticking. The negotiating window starts Monday. Signing period begins Wednesday the 11th.
Michigan football, first and goal.
If you were to ask me to describe Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh, this is not how I would do it.
He definitely has a heart. I think he's a teddy bear as well.
Clearly, Gastonia resident Liana Bell knows something I don't. Having covered Jim when I worked in Grand Rapids, Michigan, I got to know him as a cantankerous coach. She and her family, however, got to know him in a much different light.
Coach Harbaugh reached out to me and was like, "Hey, Liana." I was like, hi.
Harbaugh had heard about Liana's son, who at one point might have been on the Wolverines' radar. Demetrius Walker was a star athlete from Muskegon High School who boasted numerous Division I offers. But U of M was the one he was waiting on.
He was just like, I just want Michigan. I'm ready for Michigan. He was going to get it.
But when Harbaugh called in the fall of 2022, it obviously wasn't going to happen. Demetrius was dying from cancer, and Harbaugh wanted to do something special for him.
This was the day that we were invited to the big house, and this is his first touchdown with Harbaugh and the boys.
The day was chronicled by ESPN and other national outlets. It's an experience Liana still thinks about, now more than a year after her son's death.
I have a lot of videos of us going through that tunnel, so I definitely relive that moment all the time.
Jim and his wife apparently do as well. Even though Liana left Michigan for North Carolina last year, the Harbaughs have not lost touch.
They just encourage me and tell me how great Michi was and how he has changed their life.
He inspired them to keep believing. And while it was a joy to see the Wolverines finally win it all this past week, Liana took greater pleasure whenever Harbaugh would bring up her son's name during media interviews.
You know, when people pass, you would think the world will stop, but it just keeps going. And he's just never forgotten.
The entire thing is bittersweet.
He's supposed to be here. He was supposed to be here celebrating with us.
Instead, Demetrius is now an immortal Wolverine.
It's like I felt the presence.
Still inspiring, still connecting, and still bringing out the best in everyone.